Women desire the man who doesn't hold on because strength lies in choice, not need. Confidence, independence, and emotional stability create attraction. Mystery and freedom spark curiosity. When a man walks away with dignity, he earns respect, admiration, and deeper desire, proving that letting go often pulls hearts closer. Non-attachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts in relationships. Many believe that love requires holding on tightly, that desire is proven by persistence, and that the more you cling, the more you are valued. But the truth is the opposite. Real strength, real attraction, and real respect are born when a man understands the power of letting go. When you are emotionally free and self-contained, you are no longer reacting to others' moods or seeking constant approval. You create a space where connection grows naturally, without pressure or desperation. A man who does not hold on demonstrates a quiet confidence that cannot be faked. He moves through life with purpose, and his sense of self is not tied to whether someone stays or leaves. This detachment does not mean indifference. It means clarity. It means valuing yourself enough to recognize that your happiness and your worth are not dictated by anyone else's choices. When a man can walk away, he is choosing to preserve his dignity and integrity, and this choice is magnetic. People are drawn to those who have boundaries, who have standards, and who refuse to diminish themselves to be liked or loved. Non-attachment also creates a space for authenticity. When a man is not desperate to hold on, he allows others to be themselves as well. There is no manipulation, no pressure, no need to control the outcome. This freedom fosters genuine connection because both parties can show up fully without masks or games. Women, in particular, sense this energy. They feel it when a man is present without being clingy, when he offers companionship without suffocating, when he engages without needing constant validation. This presence, combined with non-attachment, is deeply attractive because it signals emotional maturity and self-respect. Moreover, the power of non-attachment is not just about relationships. It is a reflection of personal strength. Life will never go exactly as planned, and people will come and go. The man who does not cling understands this reality and navigates it with composure. He focuses on growth, on his passions, on his purpose, and he does not let fear dictate his actions. Fear of loss, fear of loneliness, or fear of rejection often drives people to hold on too tightly. But the man who embraces non-attachment rises above fear. His value is inherent, not conditional. Finally, non-attachment flips the dynamic of desire. The more you chase, the more you appear needy. The less you chase, the more you inspire interest. Letting go creates a paradox. By stepping back, you draw people closer. You show that your love, your attention, and your time are gifts, not entitlements. This power is subtle yet undeniable. A man who masters non-attachment does not rely on external validation. He radiates it from within. And that inner radiance is far more captivating than any display of clinging or desperation ever could be. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a man can possess, and it cannot be faked, bought, or borrowed. It comes from knowing your own worth, from understanding that your value is not dependent on someone else's attention or approval. Clinginess, on the other hand, stems from insecurity, fear, and neediness. It is loud, desperate, and exhausting, and it drives people away rather than drawing them closer. Women, like everyone else, are instinctively drawn to confidence because it signals stability, strength, and emotional maturity. It is the quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you will remain intact, whole, and undiminished. A man who is confident does not feel the need to constantly check, ask, or plead for validation. He does not become anxious when someone doesn't respond immediately or when plans fall through. His sense of security is internal, and it allows him to navigate relationships without pressure or drama. This calm, steady presence is incredibly attractive because it creates safety and respect. Clinginess, in contrast, often comes across as need disguised as love. It suffocates, it imposes, and it diminishes the man in the eyes of others. When you chase, you lower your own energy, and that energy shift is palpable. Confidence, however, elevates not only yourself, but the people around you. Confidence is also rooted in independence. A man who has his own life, his own goals, and his own passions is not defined by a relationship or by whether someone chooses to stay. He is whole on his own. This independence is magnetic because it communicates that your attention is a choice, not a requirement. Women are drawn to men who are selective with their energy, men who have standards, and men who can walk away without panic or resentment. Clinginess, by contrast, signals desperation and lack of self-respect, which is almost universally unattractive. Emotional control is another layer of confidence. A confident man can feel desire, disappointment, or frustration without letting it consume him. He responds rather than reacts. He understands that relationships thrive not under pressure, but in balance. He does not try to force someone's feelings or manipulate attachment because he knows the true connection comes from freedom, respect, and mutual choice. Clinginess erodes this balance because it always seeks to manipulate, to secure, to fix what cannot be controlled. Finally, confidence has a subtle power. It reverses the natural dynamics of desire. When you are not clingy, you become the prize. When you do not chase, you are noticed. People want what they cannot take for granted, and confidence communicates exactly that. You are whole, you are valuable, and you are not dependent on anyone else to define your life. By choosing confidence over clinginess, a man transforms his presence into something magnetic, something rare, something deeply desired. The world is drawn to strength, not desperation, and this truth underlies every lasting connection. Mystery is one of the most powerful forces in attraction, yet it is often misunderstood. Many believe that the way to win someone over is through constant openness, total transparency, and complete availability. But the truth is, desire thrives on intrigue. A man who keeps a part of himself unseen, a man who is not entirely predictable, sparks curiosity and fascination. Women, like all humans, are drawn to what they cannot fully grasp because it challenges the mind, excites the imagination, and ignites emotion. Mystery is not about playing games. It is about preserving your essence, your depth, and your individuality. A man who is mysterious does not reveal every thought, every intention, or every emotion at once. He engages without exposing himself fully, and in doing so, he creates an energy that pulls others in. This subtle restraint communicates confidence and independence. It shows that his life, his identity, and his happiness are not contingent on someone else's presence. When a man reveals only what he chooses, he becomes unpredictable in the best way, a person worth discovering, a presence that cannot be taken for granted. Women naturally sense this energy and are drawn to it because it stimulates both the mind and the heart. Mystery also protects a man's emotional energy. By not oversharing, by not seeking constant validation, he maintains control over his own feelings and the dynamics of the relationship. This is not manipulation, it is self-respect. It signals that he is whole on his own, that he cannot be shaken by insecurity, and that he is not desperate for attention. Desire thrives when there is space between two people, when there is a gap that the imagination can fill, and when curiosity can grow. Predictability and overexposure kill that desire because they remove the challenge and reduce the allure. Another layer of mystery lies in a man's ability to keep his passions and purpose alive outside of a relationship. A man who pursues his goals, maintains his routines, and invests in his personal growth naturally becomes captivating. He is not defined by who he is with. He is defined by who he is. Women are drawn to a life that is full, vibrant, and independent. When a man is not available every moment, when he does not overshare or overcommit, he communicates that his presence is a privilege, not an entitlement. This scarcity, combined with depth, creates a magnetic pull. Respect is not something you can demand or force. It is something you cultivate through your actions, your energy, and your presence. Many men make the mistake of believing that love or attention automatically earns respect. They chase, they plead, they compromise their boundaries, thinking that persistence will make someone value them more. But the truth is, respect cannot be bought with words or desperation. It is felt, it is sensed, and it is earned. When a man clings or lowers himself to be accepted, he inadvertently diminishes his own value. True respect emerges when a man demonstrates confidence, integrity, and self-worth without needing validation from anyone else. A man who understands this principle knows that holding on too tightly actually pushes people away. When you beg for attention, approval, or affection, you communicate that your worth is conditional, that it depends on someone else's choices. This vulnerability, when it stems from insecurity rather than trust, often lowers attraction. Respect, on the other hand, comes naturally when a man remains grounded in himself. He sets boundaries and honors them. He communicates honestly without over-explaining, and he maintains his dignity regardless of others' reactions. Women, and people in general, are instinctively drawn to those who operate from this place of self-respect because it signals strength and emotional stability. Respect is also about action rather than words. A man who consistently shows up with integrity, who honors his commitments, who acts with kindness yet does not compromise his standards, naturally earns admiration. You do not need to argue for respect or demand it through dramatic gestures. Your energy, your choices, and the way you carry yourself speak louder than anything you say. People are drawn to those who live their values authentically. When a man refuses to lower himself to gain approval, he establishes an invisible power that makes others treat him differently, not because of fear, but because of recognition. Moreover, earning respect requires emotional maturity. A man who reacts with patience instead of anger, who listens without judgment, and who responds rather than overreacts, demonstrates control over himself. This control is magnetic because it reflects strength rather than weakness. Clinginess, desperation, and overattachment are forms of emotional chaos. They push others away and erode the possibility of respect. When a man maintains his composure, even in challenging situations, he proves that his value is inherent, that he will not beg to be seen or loved. Finally, understanding that respect is earned and not begged for flips the dynamic of relationships entirely. The more you try to hold on, the less respect you receive. The less you chase, the more your presence becomes a choice rather than a need. Women are drawn to men who embody this energy because it signals authenticity, independence, and confidence. Respect grows when it is freely given in response to strength, consistency, and integrity. A man who knows his worth does not chase, does not plead, and does not compromise. He simply shows up as the highest version of himself, and in doing so, he naturally commands the respect he deserves. Finally, mystery fuels desire because it gives women space to engage with their own emotions and imaginations. It creates an emotional tension that makes every interaction more meaningful. A man who is mysterious allows connection to develop organically without forcing attachment or dependency. He is a challenge not because he is cruel or distant, but because he is self-contained, interesting, and unafraid to maintain his own energy. In a world where clinginess and overexposure are common, a man who embodies mystery stands apart. He is noticed, desired, and remembered. Mystery is not just an aspect of attraction, it is the heartbeat of it, the invisible current that keeps desire alive. Independence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can embody. It is not about being distant or disconnected. It is about having a life, a purpose, and a sense of self that does not rely on anyone else's approval or presence. When a man is independent, he signals that he is whole, that he has dreams, ambitions, and passions that drive him. This self-sufficiency naturally sparks curiosity and fascination because it shows that his life is rich and fulfilling on its own. Women, like everyone else, are drawn to individuals who are not desperate for attention, who are not dependent on their validation to feel complete. An independent man creates space in relationships. He does not cling, he does not demand constant reassurance, and he does not allow insecurity to dictate his actions. This space is magnetic because it allows others to breathe, to explore their own emotions, and to engage without pressure. Curiosity thrives in this environment. When a man has his own life, he is unpredictable in the best sense. His energy is not fully available at every moment, and that scarcity makes interactions more meaningful. Every conversation, every shared moment becomes an opportunity to connect rather than something taken for granted. Independence also communicates confidence without the need for words. A man who invests in himself, in his goals, and in his personal growth is signaling that his value is inherent, not borrowed. He is not defined by who he is with, and he does not need to prove himself to be worthy of attention or love. This self-assurance naturally piques curiosity because people are drawn to those who operate from strength, not need. They want to know more, to engage more deeply, and to explore the layers of someone who exists fully outside of them. Moreover, independence creates a sense of challenge and intrigue. When a man does not revolve around another person, he inspires effort rather than complacency. Women are drawn to men who have standards, who protect their time and energy, and who are not afraid to walk away from what does not serve them. This is not about arrogance or coldness. It is about self-respect and discernment. Curiosity grows when there is a sense that connection is not guaranteed, when presence is chosen rather than demanded. Emotional independence is equally important. A man who can feel deeply yet maintain composure, who can love without losing himself, is incredibly attractive. He does not overreact, does not chase, and does not compromise his values to keep someone close. Emotional stability combined with independence signals maturity, strength, and resilience, all qualities that naturally generate fascination and desire. Finally, independence fuels attraction because it allows for authentic connection. When a man is whole on his own, relationships are formed from choice, not necessity. Curiosity grows because each interaction is an exploration of a rich, complete individual, not an attempt to fill a void. Women, consciously or unconsciously, sense this energy. They are drawn to the man who does not hold on desperately, who lives fully, and who inspires exploration, simply through his independence. In this way, independence is not just a personal strength. It is the spark that keeps desire alive, the invisible force that transforms attraction into something magnetic, profound, and enduring. Emotional stability is one of the most overlooked yet powerful qualities a man can possess. Many believe that attraction is built on passion, drama, or intensity. But the truth is, calm, composed energy has a far deeper impact. Women, like all humans, are naturally drawn to someone who can navigate life's challenges with grace and composure. A man who remains steady even when faced with uncertainty, rejection, or conflict communicates strength, maturity, and self-assurance, qualities that create profound desire. Emotional stability is not about suppressing feelings. It is about mastering them, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, and demonstrating control without rigidity. A man who is emotionally stable does not overreact to silence, disinterest, or disagreement. He does not allow his mood to fluctuate wildly based on external circumstances. This stability is magnetic because it provides safety. People are instinctively attracted to those who make them feel secure, who do not create chaos through neediness or volatility. Women sense this energy immediately. When a man responds with patience instead of panic, with calm instead of desperation, he sets himself apart from the countless men who cling, chase, or react emotionally. Emotional stability signals that he is grounded, that he is in control of his life, and that he does not rely on external validation to feel worthy. Furthermore, emotional stability enhances confidence. When a man is not ruled by fear, jealousy, or insecurity, he becomes self-assured in a way that is deeply attractive. Confidence is rooted in the ability to remain centered, regardless of what is happening around you. Women are drawn to men who are comfortable in their own skin, who can handle challenges without losing their composure, and who maintain their dignity even when relationships are tested. Emotional stability communicates that he is dependable, trustworthy, and capable of handling life and love with clarity and integrity. Another important aspect of emotional stability is the ability to create space in relationships. A stable man does not suffocate, overreact, or manipulate others' emotions to control attachment. Instead, he fosters an environment where connection can grow naturally. He allows for independence, curiosity, and mutual respect because he does not feel threatened by space or distance. This presence of calm and balance is rare and therefore highly attractive. Women sense when a man's energy is consistent, reliable, and grounded, and it naturally deepens desire and admiration. Emotional stability also empowers decision-making and boundary setting. A man who is emotionally grounded knows when to step forward and when to step back. He is not impulsive, he is not desperate, and he does not bend to please others at the cost of his integrity. This combination of composure, discernment, and inner strength signals high value and earns natural respect. Women are drawn to men who can manage their emotions while still remaining warm, attentive, and present. Finally, emotional stability transforms the dynamic of attraction entirely. Drama fades, neediness disappears, and desire grows because a man's strength is communicated through his calm energy, not through attempts to control or impress. Stability creates magnetism because it is rare, it is powerful, and it is authentic. A man who embodies emotional stability becomes unforgettable, not because he dominates or demands, but because he radiates strength, patience, and quiet confidence, a force that draws people in naturally and irresistibly. The law of reversal is one of the most powerful principles in relationships and attraction, yet it is often completely completely misunderstood. Many men believe that chasing, insisting, and holding on tightly will secure love and devotion. The truth is, the opposite is almost always true. The more you chase, the more you push away. The more you cling, the more desire diminishes. Reversal works because attraction, respect, and interest are fueled by choice, not desperation. When a man steps back, when he detaches, and when he allows space, he creates the conditions for desire to grow naturally. This law is rooted in human psychology. People are wired to value what feels scarce, what is not guaranteed, and what requires effort to attain. When a man constantly pursues, he removes the tension and challenge that makes connection compelling. He signals neediness instead of confidence, and in doing so, he lowers his perceived value. On the other hand, when he practices restraint, he communicates self-respect, independence, and emotional control. He shows that his attention is not automatic, but a conscious choice, and that choice instantly becomes far more meaningful. The law of reversal also teaches the importance of timing and patience. Walking away, pausing, or refraining from chasing is not about punishment or manipulation. It is about preserving one's dignity and allowing natural attraction to surface. Desire thrives in the absence of force. By letting go, a man allows others to reflect on his value and significance. When presence is given freely, it is far more powerful than when it is demanded. Women in particular notice when a man does not overextend himself or overcommit emotionally. They sense his inner strength, and this often sparks curiosity, admiration, and deeper longing. Another aspect of the law is that it shifts the dynamic of control in relationships. Many men unconsciously surrender their power by holding on too tightly, by reacting to every silence, or by trying to fix emotions that cannot be controlled. The law of reversal flips this dynamic. It restores the man's narrative. By stepping back, he takes control of his own energy, his own choices, and the flow of the relationship. He stops reacting out of fear and begins acting from strength. This shift is magnetic because it demonstrates that his worth is inherent, not dependent on constant validation or attention. The law also highlights the paradox of desire. The less you chase, the more you are pursued. Walking away or detaching does not mean withdrawing love or care. It means elevating your standards and holding yourself in higher regard. Women are instinctively drawn to this energy because it communicates confidence, stability, and authenticity. Scarcity of attention combined with consistency of character creates a pull that is irresistible. It is the tension of the unknown, the space for imagination, and the clarity of self-worth all working together. The law of reversal is about restraint, patience, and perspective. It teaches that attraction is nurtured not by desperation, but by confidence. It shows that by valuing oneself above neediness, a man naturally elevates his presence, commands respect, and inspires desire. In a world where chasing and holding on are common, practicing reversal sets a man apart. It makes him unforgettable, magnetic, and profoundly desired. True connection is not built on possession, control, or desperation. It is born from freedom, freedom to be yourself, freedom to choose, and freedom to maintain your own identity. Many men believe that love is proven by how tightly they hold on, how much they sacrifice, or how far they will go to keep someone close. But in reality, the opposite is true. When a man allows freedom for himself and for others, he creates the conditions for genuine connection, respect, and desire to flourish naturally. A man who does not cling or smother demonstrates trust and confidence. He understands that connection cannot be forced and that love is not measured by proximity or control, Women, like all humans, are drawn to someone who offers choice rather than pressure, presence rather than neediness. When a man respects both his own boundaries and those of others, he communicates strength and self-assurance. This freedom paradoxically draws people closer because it signals that connection is valued, not demanded. Freedom in connection also allows individuals to grow. A man who insists on constant closeness or oversight inadvertently limits the other person, stifling curiosity, spontaneity, and attraction. Desire thrives in an environment where both people have space to be fully themselves. Independence, when paired with care and attention, amplifies emotional intimacy rather than diminishes it. Women sense when a man can love without holding on desperately, when he can engage without trying to control. This energy is magnetic because it balances respect, curiosity, and authenticity in a way that clinging never can. True connection requires freedom because it fosters trust. When a man does not try to manipulate or secure attachment through fear, jealousy, or overreaction, he demonstrates reliability and integrity. His presence is voluntary, his attention intentional, and his affection grounded in choice rather than need. Women notice this instinctively. They are drawn to men who allow space while remaining consistently grounded, men who are capable of loving without overstepping or suffocating. This balance between engagement and detachment is rare, and it becomes the foundation of deep, lasting connection. Moreover, freedom in connection reflects emotional maturity. A man who is free from desperation, who does not overvalue temporary validation, and who maintains composure regardless of others' reactions, communicates a sense of inner strength. He can navigate disagreements, silence, or distance without losing himself or compromising his dignity. Emotional stability combined with freedom signals value because it demonstrates that love and connection are gifts, not obligations. Finally, freedom transforms the dynamic of desire itself. When a man does not cling, when he allows space and maintains his independence, he becomes the prize rather than the pursuer. The energy he radiates, calm, confident, and self-contained, is captivating. Connection that grows under these conditions is authentic, resilient, and magnetic. True connection is not measured by proximity, control, or desperation. It is measured by the ability to love fully while allowing freedom, and by the respect, curiosity, and desire that naturally follow when one does not hold on too tightly. In the end, desire, respect, and connection are never earned through desperation or clinging. They are cultivated through self-respect, confidence, emotional maturity, and independence. A man who does not hold on tightly, who values himself above validation, and who moves through life with calm, purpose, and integrity becomes magnetic without effort. Mystery, restraint, and freedom are not weaknesses. They are the silent powers that draw others naturally. When you choose to stand tall, honor your boundaries, and let love flow rather than chase it, you become unforgettable. The man who doesn't hold on is not distant or uncaring. He is self-assured, strong, and irresistible. And that is why he is desired.